Today's video is a continuation of one that I gave several days ago about the foundations of vaccines. And where we left off was variolation and what Edward Jenner did to improve variolation by using the cowpox virus to protect people against smallpox. So remember, he didn't know why that worked. Nobody knew why it worked. We're before the idea of viruses, we're before the germ theory of disease. So the next thing that picks this story up is Louis Pasteur. And he was probably one of the most important people when it comes to the history of medicine, and definitely the most important person in the history of microbiology and immunology. And his work was varied. He did diseases of silkworms as well as animal diseases. And what he found, there was a disease called chicken cholera that he was working with samples from. And he left samples out kind of in the environment and then tried to inoculate chicken, and they didn't get the disease. And what he understood then was that something in the environment changed or lessened the severity and protected those individuals when they were then exposed to the full dose of chicken cholera. So he's figuring out this concept of immunity, that something, you can lessen the severity of something, inject them with it, and then expose them to the real thing, and they get less severe disease. And maybe he took some of those ideas from this other person named Turenne, who was working with syphilis patients and was inoculating them with the material from syphilis and realizing that over time, the lesions that they got were less. And this was called syphilization. And Pasteur was exposed to those ideas. Then the chicken cholera thing happened. And he eventually puts this together, understanding that this attenuation, that's what we call it when something gets lessened because it's exposed to the environment, it's dried, maybe you use formaldehyde or formalin, can change it to make it less dangerous, but still give you some protective benefit when you're inoculated with it and then exposed to the real thing. And that's basically the story of how vaccines develop, from Jenner, some of these ideas of Turenne, to Pasteur, chicken cholera, then to the first rabies vaccine, and then the golden age of vaccinology occurs. We still don't understand viruses yet. We still don't understand all the different cells and arms of the immune system at the time of Pasteur, but they're getting to the point that they know that this is a real phenomenon, and it leads to multiple different vaccines by Pasteur and by Robert Koch in Germany and his team, and that's kind of how vaccines begin. And it takes some time to understand what viruses are, T cells, B cells, antibodies, macrophages, all the things about the immune system, but that's the core of what happened, was Jenner to Pasteur.